this is Tree of Life, directed by Terrence Mallick, and the last Palme d'Or winner at Cannes this last summer. It was released in May, but we were able to see it a month later, opening in Salt Lake City, maybe with a possible wider release. Who knows? Basically, what this is about is everything in the universe ever.
That's a bad explanation.
It's not a movie that you can describe in plot points because structurally it's very different from really any other movie. Most similarly to 2001 Space Odyssey, which the movie's been compared to a little bit, and I do see that. Centrally, if you want to boil it down, there is a family drama about this family growing up in the 60s who have lost one of their children, and it kind of goes back in flashback, sort of. And you see the family situation leading up to this tragedy. But it also has to do with the creation of the universe, with God, with spirituality, with how life itself is, this sort of allegory or poem into creation, and all of these very large, all-encompassing
like a
ideas.
tragical, beautiful thing.
Yes, exactly. And the movie is 2.5 hours long, and it's a movie where you're going to feel every single minute of it. It's very slow, it's very methodical, and it has a very different kind of pacing than most movies. It's sort of done in a scene mosaic rather than natural kind of scenes that have little set pieces and arcs that kind of move the story, or even dialogue that moves the story. 90% of the dialogue is done in voiceover, and it's very sparing voiceover. It's almost all in whisper and prayer, and it's an ideas movie. And for that, it's making up its own rules, and it's following the rules that it makes up. So you really can't compare it to anything else. It's hard to say whether or not the movie is successful on its own. I will say, to say that it's a movie that is not for everyone is an understatement, because it's barely for the people that it was made for. It's, like I said, very slow, it's very long, and I think that maybe, you could shave a half an hour off and tighten some of this stuff up a little bit, but I have a really hard time kind of trying to gauge how to even talk about this movie, because it is
well, where
so
to
unique.
shave those parts off of.
Exactly,
also.
because everything is metaphorical in this movie, and everything is symbolism. So the more I think about the movie, and the more I like it, the more I appreciate it. This isn't a movie that you're going to want to see a lot. You're not going to have a Friday night popcorn Tree of Life party, but I would say if there was a double bill, if you had 6 hours to kill, and there's a double bill at a local theater of 2001 and Tree of Life, maybe
no, too much. You would
with
die.
With some intermissions,
Die.
I'd say that would be a transcendent time at the theater. I give the movie an A-, and I think it's a masterpiece of sorts, but it's not one that most people are going to like or even appreciate.
And your grade?
A-.
Okay. I gave the film a B+. It would be on that 80 mark, though, exactly. It was very tediously slow. We're not just talking... I don't mind slow films in general.
Yeah.
I can stand them. But the part about it for me is there were times where I was like, oh, okay, I really feel this. I mean, but at the same time, like you said, the metaphor part, without the big build-up where they show you basically the creation of everything.
The creation of life and the universe as we know it.
Not just the Earth, but the universe. You wouldn't get the same, you wouldn't have the same ideas when you were watching the family drama. It would just become a family drama, and you'd be like, okay. Some of the prayer-like whispers, I didn't understand what they were saying, and they kind of just were kind of mumbly, and I was like, why are you even saying this right now, other than to kind of break up the silence that we've been seeing for the creation of the universe? I do think it was meticulously crafted and really well done. I just don't know. I think that it did what it was trying to do. I just don't think... I think 2001 does a better job of it. and that might just be the genre because I prefer the genre,
The science fiction element.
the science fiction
Yeah.
element, or it might also be because you kind of have to grasp a lot in the film, and I feel like you have to grasp way too much. I like interpreting films, but in this one there was some things that were not I was just like, okay, it's just saying this, but it's doing it way long and way kind of it's like a very long-winded person. They might have a couple of good points, but plain and simple, they just drone on and on and on. And so that's why I would give it a B- flat at 80, because it just was way too long for what it was trying to do. I think they could have cut it up and polished it a bit more. I don't think you needed, there was no, I mean, I think you could have got the same effect by having the cosmic level without having to draw it out so long. The other part about that is the Sean Penn stuff. I thought he did great. Most of it I didn't understand. There was no point to it.
Yeah.
There was literally his character that he just kind of seemed sad. He kind of introduced that the brother died, and that's about it.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot to it.
No, I agree that the Sean Penn stuff is the least developed in the movie. I think his addition to the movie had something to do with the cyclical nature of the storytelling and how time and eternity and all of these things.
I don't disagree. It just didn't work.
But I agree that he was very underdeveloped.
The other thing that the whole end scene, I understood the metaphor, did not care for it. The whole river walking white dress thing, I just didn't care for it. So again, I would give it an 80 flat. Anyways, moving on.